Welcome along to episode 743 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, we hear about the play Ikaria. It's a debut from Phillippa Lawford. She will be along at the Stafford Gatehouse, willing on her cast. We'll be finding out about that one. We talked to Tom Roberts about By the Waters of Liverpool, which is at Lichfield Garrick in early October. Also on the way, Dave Cairns, A Secret Affair. We're telling us about an evening with Secret Affair, which is taking place at the Robin in Bilston. And we talked to two of the hosts of stages at the Malvern Three-County Showgrounds Malvern Autumn Show. We've got Mark Diacano and Martin Fish, who are going to be down there on the 22nd through to the 24th. That's all coming up on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
With Phillippa Lawford's debut play coming to the Stafford Gatehouse on the 3rd of October, this is going to be a treat for theatre goers across our region. Phillippa joins me now to tell me what's going on with Ikaria. Hello.
Hi, nice to be here.
Well, good to have you along. And this is a production which has got plaudits across every performance that we've seen so far. Tell us a bit about what happens when it arrives in Stafford.
So the play is a love story. It's called Ikaria, and it's about it's kind of like a first love. So it's set at university. The whole play is set within a student bedroom in university halls, and it's about a young couple called Simon and Mia navigating the challenges of university, mental health, and an exciting first love in newfound freedom at uni.
And so this is a change which goes through many people's lives. And I remember heading off to university and everything being somewhat different. Your parents aren't around. You've got your own place, but in a way, you are still tied down in a lot with the university structure that's there, and a whole new set of peers to work with. So everything is new in some way or form, but it often seems the same when you're still in education.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's just such a pivotal moment when suddenly, you can wake up anytime you want, and you can have someone back to your room, and they don't have to go past your parents to walk up the stairs, and you can eat what you want, and it's kind of a great thing, but it's also it's a bit scary. There's so much freedom, and you've still got a university that's supposed to be looking out for you.
Yeah, and I say the university's looking out for you, and often your friends are too. And it's interesting to see how different people's sensibilities will sort of all merge together when you put a group of peers together like this.
Yeah, absolutely. The play, we only have the two actors in it, but we tried to definitely create the sense of a wider world outside the bedroom, and just what a sort of exciting landscape is.
Now, a dizzying romance and a chance to explore feelings and under a microscope as well. So within those four walls, a lot can be said.
Yeah, absolutely. We've I think the play is quite a zoomed-in approach to relationship. We're looking at a lot of in detail what it feels like to kiss someone for the first time, and to get in your first relationship and say "I love you" for the first time, and it's so much fun exploring that with the actors.
And how much of this ties in with your university experience?
Well, most of it.
But were you able to explore things that you would have enjoyed seeing and hearing and talking about, or is it very much a working through issues that you have left over from your time at uni?
I think I would say that the small details are from my life, but the big details are the plot that I've made up. So I just take a lot of inspiration from various different bits of my life, but you have to be able to step back and kind of make up a plot according to the demands of a story structure,
And a uni bedroom in itself, that is often an unusual place. So with furnishings and wallpaper you wouldn't select, and therefore then with the personality of the people in the room isn't reflected by what's around them. And I think that's an interesting juxtaposed position when it comes to telling a story of love and what they do want from each other.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there was such a variety in the way people treated their rooms at uni. Like sometimes you'd have mold in mugs that were ashtrays, and growing horrible things in them. And some people brought in loads of wall hangings and made it all very beautiful. And I think that can kind of reflect sometimes your state of mind, or maybe how much you've been used to tidying your room at home. But it's very interesting to build that space as like a piece of set design, and to kind of reflect how the relationship is and how the room changes, like during the term as the relationship changes as well.
And you've got some mold, which is probably now about 6-7 years old, that you've been cultivating for this.
The real thing, we've kept it, exactly.
But joking aside, though, I mean the reviews on this have been amazing, all 4 and 5 stars. And what's it like getting that sort of plaudits with a debut, and then knowing that there's quite a lot of yourself in there, however much you're admitting to?
Yeah, it's been really nice. It was great because we did, the first one was for 2 weeks in a pub theatre in London. And it was just really amazing to get some awards and those great reviews because it's meant we've been able to get the funding and all these venues to take this show on tour again. So it's just really, really exciting. And it's, so nice to be my first full-length play. It's, just really
rightly proud of what you've got going on here, and that's impressive. Tell us about your 2 actors.
Well, so they're called Andrea and James, and they are both very young, which is really nice. I think because it's a play about young people, I felt it was really important that the actors were kind of basically the age of the characters within a very small range of that. So that's really lovely. And they're both just super talented, really, really creative. It's nice, when you can feel with actors like you're really collaborating artistically on what you want the play to feel like, and there's we have a great communication with both of them. It's lovely. And I've got a fantastic associate director called Ikaria as well, who is so important in this room.
But I mean, this production itself and the play, it does focus on some very, very sort of serious areas. There's sexual assault, suicide, depression, self-harm. Not everybody's university life is like this, but we all know somebody who has experienced something like this. And it's important that we talk about it and hear people talking about it in a real way.
Yeah, this is the thing. I completely agree. It was definitely when I was at uni, it was the amount of people who experienced crises to do with mental health, which is underfunded in universities. There just isn't the support that people need. It was really shocking. It was eye-opening because suddenly a lot of the safety nets that people have at school kind of swing away a bit. So it's just dealing with them suddenly without this the roster of parents available to kind of step in. So it was, it's really, really interesting. And I think it is, all of these things are unfortunately a big part of the backdrop of student life.
Yeah, and even if it isn't you, if you're lucky enough that it's not you, you will always find somewhere in the chain of things where you'll have to support or hear about or support someone who's got friends who've suffered this, even if you or maybe helping friends directly. And I think that's again another important part of student life, because everyone's sort of thrown into it. They very often do all sort of get together and rally the troops, as it were, around these sort of problems. And again, I take it that we'll see some of that in some cases with your 2 protagonists.
Yeah, absolutely. And the play is a lot about support and what it means to care for someone who is vulnerable and someone who doesn't want to ask for help, and how much can you intervene if someone doesn't want to ask for help.
Well, tickets for the 3rd of October, staffordgatehouse.co.uk. 01785 619080 is the box office number. Have we got you on the socials too?
Yes, we are at Tightrope Theatre on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
And have we got more in the pipeline from you too?
Oh, after this play?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I hope so.
We'll see what happens. Okay, we'll wait for funding to come through for the next project. Meanwhile, Ikaria is at the Stafford Gatehouse on the 3rd of October. The debut from Phillippa Lawford has been a joy to speak to you. Thank you for joining us, and have a great time on the road.
Thank you so much.
On the 3rd and 4th of October, a very special production is at the Garrick in Lichfield by the Waters of Liverpool. Now, this is your pretty much only chance to see the Helen Forrester play, and we've got an amazing cast who are going to be there, one of which is Tom Roberts. Hello, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very well. I hope we find you well.
Very well indeed. I'm parked up at Port Sunlight in the sunshine, so I'm all good. Life is good.
Well, this is it, because I mean, you've been rehearsing in Liverpool for this show, understandably, with the Liverpool links. But I mean, you've got your own links to Lichfield because it's actually a local gig for you, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah, it's great. You very often don't work where you live, but this time I am. Yeah, we've got a gig at the Garrick on the 3rd and 4th of October as part of the tour. Yeah.
And 3 shows with a matinee on the 4th. So it's a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
That's right.
So tell us a bit about the story itself, because this is the second part of Helen Forrester's two-part series here, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it's written, as you say, by Helen Forrest. It's autobiographical. So it's the second story. First one being Tuppence Across the Mersey, which actually came to the Garrick a couple of years ago.
It was actually last year. This time last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah. So this is the sequel to it. It's about a family who moved to Liverpool from a fairly affluent area in England. They fall on hard times, so they have to move up to Liverpool, and it's about it's mostly about the daughter Helen, as in Helen Forrester, and her struggles, if you like, in her journey as they try and settle in this new environment. So yeah, it's a lovely tale, a mix of, as you'd expect, Liverpool humour. There's a lot going on. There's a great musical score as well. Great story. Good cast.
And yeah, and I love the Liverpool humour. I mean, I lived up there for 3 years when I was at university, so I had a great time up there. And you must have had a fun time. It's only down the road from where you were when you were working on Corrie for a while.
That's right. Yeah. Well, like you, I went to Liverpool Uni as well. I was there for 3 years, and I grew to love the place. It's just a very unique humour, isn't it? And I think I'm the only cast member who's not from Liverpool, so you can imagine the stories and the jokes and the humour going around. But yeah, it's an area I do love the place. I really do. It's
once you've lived there, you end up mispronouncing things to be understood in shops. You go, "All right, mate, can I have a pint of lager, please?" And I could do it better than that at the time, 20 or 30 years ago. But yeah, it's one where you do have to pick up the lingo, isn't it?
You do. Have you got any chicken? Chicken. And, yeah. I spent a week down the Aussie the other day because I didn't pay the Lecky bill and all these things. You get it, but it takes a while. Yeah,
but it's fun to be telling a story, but it's not a smooth flowing story at times, though, is it? She's had her interesting times in her life.
Helen Forrester, you mean?
Yeah.
It's very up and down. I mean, she had a very. I guess that's why it's interesting, because there's so many human stories within her own story, and it's there were struggles. I mean, I don't want to. It's not a bleak. It's not 90 minutes of bleakness. There's a lot of lightness in between, but it's quite roller coaster. Our own stories. I don't want to give the ending away, but it's a really powerful, lovely ending to it as well.
Mm-hmm. But are you a good boy or a bad boy in this one? Because in the Shape of Scott Emberton, you were known for being a bit naughty.
I'm always a bad boy. I'm bad boys and panto. I don't know what it is. I'm a nice bloke, really, Jason, as I'm sure you know. But I don't know. Maybe because I'm tall, I don't know what it is, but they always cast me as a baddie. No, I'm a decent bloke in this one. He's a bit troubled because he had some problems in the First World War, and he's trying to get over that. So he's a bit strict, but his heart is in the right place. Put it that way.
And how does the story unfold? Because it's I say troubling to tell some bits of the tale, but I say the joyous moments to bring it all home. But when you're telling a life story, it's difficult to have that moment that gets you to the interval in the right place sometimes. So it's got to be told in the right way, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost a play in two halves, actually. And the first half is about as they settle and the difficulties in the whole family, if you like, settling. So there's a real difference after the interval, because it's a lot lighter. She's finding her feet. She's finding people that she can trust. She finds friends. So it becomes. Yeah, there is that definite contrast, if you like, between the two halves. But yeah, as I say, it's a lovely ending, which I can't tell you because they'd sack me if I did. So, but
we don't want spoilers, but we do want to know it's a great show, and you're affirming that to us, and we trust you, which is what counts.
Good, you should.
Now, back to the Lichfield thing, though. I mean, I suppose this gives you a chance to sleep in your own bed after the show or for a few nights, doesn't it?
I can't tell you. You get to a certain age, and your own bed becomes massively important. It really does. Your mattress. I've got a lovely king size mattress, and I miss it. I really do. In fact, I've got a lovely pillow as well that I take on tour with me because I can't bear to be without it. So the home comforts, I'm missing a lot. Yeah, but hey, yeah, I can stay back at home and for free.
That's the best part. You mean you can pocket the cash that you get for staying over, isn't it? Yeah, I know.
You know these things.
I know what you actors are like. Any chance to sleep on somebody's floor.
Absolutely.
But the rest of the cash that you got there with you, I suppose you'd be putting up some of them in the spare room and charging them for it.
How did you know that? Yes, yes, at least two of them. Yeah.
Tell us about the rest of the gang you are working with, though.
Just lovely. As I say, they're mainly Liverpool actors, who work a lot at the Everyman and the Royal Court, and just great fun. There's a guy called Joe Gill, who's an Emmerdale
Yeah,
regular.
yeah.
Yeah, lovely guy. But it's just good to be amongst actors again, especially after COVID, because it's there's that great camaraderie, which it keeps you going from place to place. We're playing places. I mean, next week, for example, we've got 3 different venues in 1 week, so it's 2 days in different places. So you need to get on and have your friends around you in this sort of thing.
And I think it's the sort of play where the emotions that run through it, they've got to be believable. And with the group of actors you've got there, I think you're going to have no problem with that at all, are you?
Very much so, yeah. As you say, I mean, it can be difficult at times. So you need the humour to balance that, if you like, which you do get in the bar in Wetherspoons. Other bars are available after the show.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. It's Helen Forrest's by the Waters of Liverpool. It is the 3rd and the 4th of October at the Lichfield Garrick. LichfieldGarrick.com to get your tickets. 01543 412121, on the box office number. Tom Roberts Local Theatre. And you will no doubt be able to see him wandering around Stowpall with his dogs before the matinee. So it'll be well worth catching him, giving a wave and grabbing a selfie then. So always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us. Have a brilliant time. Break a leg.
Thank you, Jason. Speak soon.
With the Malvern Autumn Show this Friday, Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be a busy time in the potting shed. Martin Fish is here to tell us more. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
How's it going?
It's all going well, yeah, and looking forward to being at Malvern starting on Friday and then going through till Sunday. So we've got lots and lots planned in the potting shed.
Absolutely. Now, are your fingers suitably green at this moment in time? Are you ready to be able to share some tips and talk to the stars of the world of horticulture?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I've had them re-greened, especially for the Malvern show. So it's always, for us, it's the last flower show of the season. So it's always really good. It's got a great atmosphere, and we love being there. So yeah, no, we've got lots happening on the stage. I mean, the good thing about the potting shed is we bring exhibitors in as well as other guest speakers. So we always start every day and we meet some of the growers. So these are the growers that are in the floral marquee, the specialist the growers that go to all the RHS shows and Malvern especially. So we've got a couple of those coming in every day, and they'll just tell us a little bit about their exhibit, how they've created it, the plants they're growing, and it gives the audience chance to ask them questions. And then we always do a Q&A. Q&As are always popular because it's a chance where anybody can ask questions. And we always say it doesn't matter whether it's lawns, flowers, fruit, veg, house plants, whatever it is, we'll answer the questions. And I'm really pleased that this year we're being joined by John Wheatley. John is a regular at the Malvern shows, very, very knowledgeable. He's a grower, he's an RHS judge, really knows his stuff. We do flower arranging as well, Jason. We have a chap called Jonathan Mosley, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know. So he'll be coming along and he'll be doing all his beautiful floral arrangements on the stage every day. And the audience always love it. And he makes it look so easy. That's the great thing about Jonathan.
I know, he's just so talented. It's amazing what he can do. I've been lucky enough to interview him in the past about some of the exhibits he's got down there. And he always brings something new and different to the show as well, which is always good. And of course, he'll be then giving more tips and having conversations. And in the Q&A type sessions, are people encouraged to maybe bring along either a photo or a bit of plant that they might want to ask questions on?
Oh, yes, please. Yeah. I mean, it makes it so much easier because sometimes people try and describe a plant, but if they've actually got a piece of plant with them, we always say if it's a disease on a plant, just wrap it in a polythene bag because we don't want to be spreading the disease around the marquee. But any samples of plants that you want to identify, and then, yeah, bring it along. It makes life so much easier for us.
And something that you're going to be doing each day is interesting. It's a cocktail of containers. Tell us more.
Well, it's, end of the summer now, and autumn is, well, technically, I suppose it is autumn, isn't it? And we're thinking about autumn containers in the garden. So I'm going to make a selection of containers, all different ones with different colour themes. Some of them all frothies. If it's champagne fizzing out of a bottle. And so just to give people some ideas, really, Jason, of what they can do to get a bit of colour and interest in their garden over the autumn and the winter. So something that you can plant now that will look good in the garden through until next April or May time. So I do that one. And then I also do a double act with my wife, Jill. She's with me at the shows this year. And we call it Gardening on the Menu. So I'm the gardener in the family. So I talk a little bit about growing seasonal fruit and veg, and then Jill will be cooking it on the stage. So at the end of it, she will have cooked a main course and a pudding from the fresh ingredients that will have harvested out the garden this week.
Oh, that sounds really good as well. Any chance to sample some of that as well?
If you're there, come and see us, Jason.
I'll dip along on Friday afternoon. I think I shall pop down for that one. That sounds good to me.
Yes. She's doing a spinach pancake with pan roasted vegetables, and that's followed by toffee apple trifle. So, which is delicious.
I'll sign me up for both of those. Yeah, it sounds good in your house for dinner. I know you. One of you growing it, the other one cooking it. That sounds fantastic. Proper teamwork. That's the way we like it. But I mean, it is an amazing show in itself, isn't it? I mean, everybody loves coming down there, and it's a great opportunity to see people up close and personal and talk through your gardening queries at the same time as learning a bit from the talks too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is. And that's the thing, because there's such a variety on the stage, and we're going to be positioned in the Harvest Pavilion. So there's the grand floral marquee with all the nurseries. We're in the Harvest Pavilion where all the veg there, the fruit, the flowers. So it is absolutely wonderful. I always think it's just like a giant harvest festival. So yeah, something is happening all through the day from 10:30 till 3:30, and we end every day with Arit Anderson. So Arit is one of the presenters on BBC Gardeners World Live. I'm sure regular viewers will know Arit. So Arit's going to pop along for the last session and have a chat, and we're going to talk about things you can be doing in your autumn garden.
Yeah, because I mean, I was quite busy running around here, there, and everywhere as well. Actually, she's got a busy time of it. I was catching up with her in the week, and she has got a lot going on. You've got a lot going on, and you barely get a chance to actually see the show itself. You'll be sneaking around before and after closing time, won't you, and opening time?
Yeah, you're right, because we are literally, because I'm giving talks and answering questions, but I host everybody else, introduce them. So I'm there from 10:30 till about 4:00 and never really get a chance to leave the stage. So I try and have a look around first couple of hours in the morning and then an hour afterwards. And I get there on Wednesday, although the show doesn't start till Friday. I get there Wednesday so we can set up, because I'm also one of the judges in the floral marquee. So Thursday is judging day, so I do at least get to look around all the nurseries in detail when I'm judging, but the rest of the time I just go off and do a different part of the showground, because there is so much to see. It's a big show, and you do need a full day to see it.
But that floor marquee, absolutely amazing. And then the displays that we see from people entering into competition as well, which is nice at this time of year too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's probably one of the biggest shows for that is the Malvern Autumn show. Because in the marquee where we are, there's going to be vegetable growers from all over the country with their veg. There's the giant veg, these huge pumpkins, huge cabbages, leeks about 4 feet long and that type of thing. And then of course it's the dahlias and the chrysanthemums and the roses and the gladioli. There are just so many. So there must be, hundreds and hundreds of amateur growers that come along with their produce and stage it, which is all judged, of course. So it really is a fantastic display that they put on. You don't see anything like this, anywhere else. So there are only a couple of autumn shows, and I think Malvern is without doubt the biggest.
Absolutely, and well worth getting along to. People coming from across the Midlands. Obviously, here in Wolverhampton, we get loads of people travelling over, and I know that there's obviously always some local produce on display for us that's travelled over to the Three Counties Showground. malvernautumn.co.uk to get your tickets. Buy them in advance and go along and enjoy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All 3 days if you can. There's plenty to see for 3 whole days, or at least a day of your choosing, and you'll be able to see the likes of the amazing Martin Fish down there, helping to give some tips and eat his wife's cookery on stage in the Garden Theatre. Martin, lovely to speak to you. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to seeing you sometime on Friday.
Thank you, Jason. Take care.
There's an evening with Secret Affair taking place at the Robin in Bilston on the 4th of October. Dave Cairns is here to tell me more. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
So a bit of a modernite, but a bit more than that as well, including some wonderful shirts from your good self.
Yes, it's one of my Paisley collections. You know,
Being a mod, it requires good dress sense and great music. So what have you got lined up for us on the night?
what we're doing is we're doing a Q&A hosted by Eddie Pillar, DJ Eddie Pillar, and the man behind Acid Jazz Records.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote the sleeve notes and curated our latest product, which is so-called The Very Best of Secret Affair, which came out last year, and it's on Demon Music, which is the BBC's record label.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are not only discussing that with Eddie Pillar, throwing it out to the audience to offer some questions up as well. But I think the theme is probably going to be, because it's 2 days before we start our very best of UK tour, which happens 2 days later. It starts all the way through October, November. I think we're going to be talking about our history of gigs from the very start of Secret Affair in an East End pub, all the way through the Bridge House, Canning Town, to the Margate Club in Soho. And in 1 year, we sold out the Rainbow Theatre in Finsbury Park, which I'd seen as a schoolboy. David Bowie as Ziggy Stardust, and he only did 2 London shows, and I happened to be at one of them.
That's cool.
And I was up in the gods. I can't remember very much apart from, there were no video screens, so he was like a little ant down there. But I was so thrilled to be there as a Bowie fan. And so I think it was 7 years later, I'm headlining it myself. So it blew me away, really, because you just don't expect to be able to achieve that so quickly. And I was 21 years old.
Yeah, because I mean, we go back, 78, so 45 years ago, you got together. 79 was the debut, Time for Action. And obviously, that is one heck of a career with songs you know and love and your audience have grown up with.
Well, the interesting thing is that, that's a song I wrote when I was 18, along with a song called My World, which both those songs are very much anthems that I wrote very, very quickly. And when Secret Affair came to an end, probably 81, 82, where we'd released 3 albums, and we just decided to call it a day. And there's a huge gap until 2002, I think, when we were asked to perform at Shepherd's Bush Empire with the original lineup, which we did, which was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did the same the next year, and we were filmed at the Scala. But then the original members, because it was all put together by Ian Page, vocalist, and myself, they declined to do any more shows because they had careers in a different business.
Mm-hmm.
It's still music industry. And so there was another big gap until 2008, when Ian Page and I were asked to perform at the Isle of Wight Scooter Rally. And we put together for fun, really an 8-piece band with a full horn section. And they put in the ice rink, which is one of the venues. And we sold it out at 2,500. And I just thought 2 things. My God, people still want to hear us and see us again. But I also thought, Christ, we should have printed up some T-shirts. And then people the very early days of websites, we started getting messages from people saying, look, have you reformed? Because we'd like you to come and play Moscow. And oh, what, Moscow? So then we went off to Moscow for the 3rd time, which was just terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be going there now.
No, different times.
It was different times. That was an amazing trip. And then 2 nights in Tokyo, and then across Europe. before you knew it, we just thought, well, look, both of us, I mean, most of my kind of old work colleagues and musician friends, they all play golf. And so they play golf at the weekends. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go and play electric guitar at weekends. And so it's grown over these years, where we've now got a company called AGMP, it's Adrian Gibson, and he's probably the biggest independent promoter in the UK these days. And he puts on an annual tour every year, and also some other shows that we do with him. So we've ended up going back on the road. We've just finished some great festival slots. So you end up needing a tour manager who doubles up at looking after the equipment. Then you need a lockup, and then you realise everything needs to be flight case. So you end up back where we were back in the day. But when you pare it down, you can make more money than we did first time round, because when we were doing concert hall tours that were sold out, you get to the end of the tour, which in those days was put in place to sell albums, and your hit singles triggered the album sales, and you went on tour, and you'd be lucky with a sellout concert tour to break even. And I'd say, well, there was nothing dodgy about it. It's just that it's job creation, where you think you've got two Arctics on the road, a sleeper coach, and you'd see people walking around, and I'd say, who's that? Oh, that's the lighting assistant. Well, who's that person over there? Well, that's the so-and-so. And so you've got this entourage of people, and you're lucky you don't lose money. And these days, we're playing smaller venues, but we're still playing substantial venues, and we actually can make some reasonable money for all of us. And we're really enjoying going out there. And what really pleases me in particular is when people sing along to Time for Action after all these years, it's just the whole crowd are singing it. But also we have a false ending to My World, and we stop it just with the drum beat. We get everyone singing, and to me, when you've got several hundred people singing My World back to me, and I wrote it when I was 18, and here I am in my 60s, it chokes me up to think that it means that much to people. And sometimes we've had messages where unbelievably people have said, that song stopped me from committing suicide. And some people turn up at merchandise and they've got some of the lyrics down their arms. And I'm so touched by that. So that's really one of the great reasons for coming back and what we do.
Yeah, but even more so with the conversation with Eddie, because obviously the acoustic side of things, the music that you'll play as you go along, it's personal to those people in that room.
It's the second time we've ever done this, and Ian does some sort of musical breakdowns with, about songs and lyrics from the past, with the keyboard player, Gary Walsh, and we've got a lot of jokey stuff, and we've got a lot of anything from bizarre stories over the years going back to in the day that I think is quite. I think it's really quite entertaining in the end, and then you get an unplugged set at the end, which again is the second time we've ever done it.
Well, it's going to be an amazing night there, a night for memories. And is there any encouragement for the audience to be able to put in, comments and questions beforehand via your Facebook page, that sort of stuff?
Yes. If they go to our Facebook page, Secret Fair Official, any questions, send them in, and I'll make sure that we've got them in front of us, or we'll be handing a mic round for anybody that wants to stand up and ask anything. So we'll be ready for that.
Well, it's like the Robin is an amazing size venue for this sort of event. You could still have the intimacy you want to be able to make it a personal night. And with the tour on the way as well, I know that there's going to be more people rocking out to the music and having an amazing time as you hit the road. And obviously, we're not too far away from the 50th anniversary of all of this. So that must be another good milestone you're looking forward to.
The 50th anniversary. Well, funnily enough, you know that almost every band from the past every year they're celebrating another album that was released 40 years, 42, 40, and as long as the audience want that, that's great. But next year is the 45th anniversary of our debut album, Glory Boys, and the hit single Time for Action. So we and the Mods Mayday event, which we were the kind of leading that back in 1979, and now Mods Mayday events happen all over the world. It's really strange. One of the biggest ones that I'm hoping to be on is Mods Mayday Jakarta.
Ooh.
And it's in a big open air venue, thousands of people there, and of course they happen to be scooter mad. So it's a really weird scene, and we're all connected into all of that. I have to say the Robin venue is a musician's dream, because not only is it a great music venue, but you can come off stage, go to the bar and meet everybody, have some drinks. You go through a connecting door into your hotel room. And if you're like us, you're constantly we're in 9-seater tour buses that have got cargo hold in the back for all the flight case equipment. There's nothing better than locking it up inside their complex and then just walking into the next corridor and into bed. What a great venue. That's a musician's dream venue.
And they're good rooms as well. I've seen them. So I know you're going to have a great time chilling.
We will.
It's going to be a great one. It is the 4th of October, 7:30 start. It is the robin.co.uk to get your tickets. Click online, grab your tickets through the website. Of course, we've got you on the socials. We mentioned we're looking for Secret Affair Official on Facebook, and you can be found on a website too.
Secretaffair.info.
So check out online there, and you can see everything's going on. Secret merch if you want to get your T-shirts and the like, and
absolutely
wear them to the gig.
Well, actually, we'll have some great merchandise on the night. We'll actually have some posters of the flyer of this Q&A, and we'll sign them and do pickies, and
Well, it is going to be an amazing night. One for every mod in your life. Make sure they've got tickets. Get along and enjoy an amazing evening of the Secret Affair, chatting with Eddie Pillar. David Cairns, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
With the Malvern Autumn Show running from the 22nd through to the 24th of September, there's an awful lot going on, a lot to talk about. And the man hosting pretty much everything, as he often does, is Mark Diacano, who joins me now. Hello, sir.
Hello, and afternoon to you. You okay?
I'm good. I hope we find you well. I'm looking forward to bumping into you on Friday when I'm down there doing the show from down there. But ahead of that, you're, I suppose, doing plenty of preparation and reading up on your guests.
Well, we've got so many people coming. I mean, there's always a great list of people, but there's so many people coming this time. We're interviewing a lot of people, some people cooking. We've got John Waite, who some people may know from Strictly, or Bake Off, or from his more recent memoir, which is An Extraordinary Thing. We've got kind of nice debates. We've got Arthur Parkinson and Blanche Vaughan talking about kind of veg growing as opposed to flower growing. All kinds of people cooking. We've got Adam Frost, who people obviously will know from Gardener's World.
Yeah.
And he's appearing over on Nicky Chapman's Garden Theatre. But I'm also roping him over to the Food Theatre, which I'm hosting. My guess is his cooking is not as good as his gardening. But I'll be there to help him along. You will find out, and I'm going to get him to make a cocktail or two, because I know we'll at least enthuse enough to have a good go at that too.
Well, I think the only place you don't tend to appear is the bandstand, but it's the Gin Theatre and Bandstand this year. So actually, you probably have got a vested interest.
Well, quite. I mean, the Gin Theatre is great because most of us will happily have, a regular high street brand of gin, and perfectly happy that can make us too. But it is really interesting once you start nosing around about different varieties, different kinds, different ways that people make gin, everything from the kind of highly artisan to flavored gins. And really, that's just a really good spotlight to show what people in the Three Counties area are doing with one of our favourite drinks.
Yeah, but it is very often the Three Counties and beyond, because I know from Wolverhampton we get people who are interested in down there in the RHS tent. We'll no doubt see one of the Black Country Fuchsia Societies or similar. They'll be down there as well. And it draws people in from across the Midlands and, of course, into Wales as well. It's probably one of the widest spreading shows on the calendar.
Well, it is. I mean, it's interesting because they call it, obviously it's Three Counties Showground, but that's been my experience over the last, 12 years or so that I've been hosting there, is while there's a core audience of kind of three counties, as you say, that beyond, whether you're even right down here, I'm in the southwest, I know people that, say, what you're doing this weekend? I'm like, I'm hosting up at Malvern. I'm like, well, we're going to Malvern. We go every year. And, reaching down to Devon, across the Midlands, further up north, and well into Wales, as you say, it's one of those shows, I think, that offers everybody everything. There's, a lot of the old-fashioned stuff you'd hope to find at a show, but there's also so much to do, to see for the family, people in just on their own. There's things to buy, things to drink, things to eat, but there's also a lot to listen to and learn from as well. So I hope, and, I'm pretty confident that whatever you're into, you'll find something great at the show.
Absolutely. And I have the advantage when I'm there, I get to go around much more of the show than you tend to do because you're pretty much working non-stop. But I mean, have you decided maybe to go in for growing giant pumpkins this year and entering that into the show yourself whilst you're there?
Do you know what? I when I started growing vegetables, I couldn't quite understand it. But once, I think last time we were at the show, I think 9 of us stood on one of the giant squash. And you think, hang on a minute, what incredible range of skills must you have to be able to turn this thing that we can grow that's maybe a foot across to something that at the same time of year 9 people can stand on, and it's an extraordinary thing, being able to do that. And I have to confess, I have crossed the moat, and I'm now fully in the appreciation of the camp of the giant veg, and it's something that people are utterly fascinated by, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, well, I love it on the end of the show on Sunday when veg gets sold off, and you can take home a cabbage that's bigger than your car. It's amazing.
Yeah. The hardest thing is actually getting the thing home, isn't it?
It makes it difficult, but it also makes for an amazing set of lunches for the next 3 to 4 months. But there you go. And obviously, people will be looking forward to Christmas as well. And although it's not going to be very festive, there'll be brilliant food ideas for that time of year.
Yeah, there's all sorts. There's, as well as having a lot of presents, obviously you can look around for. We've got a few people joining us in the food theatre. So we've actually got the Ginger Pig are coming, and Ginger Pig have just produced a book called Christmas Traditions, preparing for the best festive season that you can get. And it really will take you through every little thing that you might want to make at Christmas. There's also Jürgen Kraus as well, who has a book to do with kind of German winter Christmassy cooking and celebrations and all the big flavours in that. So yes, even though we will still be in September, there will be threads of Christmas should anybody want to come on, and just some delicious food for whatever time of year too.
It's amazing. I mean, it is the best of the season, and it's a season through harvest that gives us our food for the rest of the year. So, and again, it's so important that we understand where it comes from.
Oh, absolutely that. And I think that one of the things I love about the show, I mean, genuinely, I say this at spring and I say this at autumn, but the two shows at Malvern, at Three County shows, are my favourite of the year. And I think it's because they just capture that time of year so perfectly. And that is kind of spread across the ground, So we do have people who are growers. You can find out all the information you might want to about how to set yourself up for next spring. There are producers there's nurseries, but also there's the whole plate side as well. So whatever it is of any of that spectrum, from growing to cooking, it's going to be a place for you. But it's such a great time of year.
Absolutely. And so we mentioned a few bake-off stars. I think, have you got another one who's actually going to be with you on the Friday afternoon?
We have got, yes, we've got Alice Favronia, and she's got a brilliant new book called Best Bakes, and I'm looking forward to that because I'm not bad. I'm all right cooking, but baking would be maybe the area in which I could improve most.
But a few skills picked up over the weekend, because you will have an oven there and everything, won't you?
We'll have the whole thing. Yeah, we've got a stage, and people will be cooking either on the hob or in the oven or both. There'll be lots of talk. There's some cocktails. There's that we're going to be using cider in cooking as well. We've got the Beefy Boys doing frankly astonishing burgers. We've got all sorts going on. There's some foraging with Liz Knight, who is local to the show as well. So there really is all sorts. We'll be using local ingredients where we can, and it really is kind of, there'll be tasters which we can do, be they cocktail ones or bakes or whatever else is being cooked. So there's lots to actually experience as well as come along and listen to.
Well, it's going to be worth being down there. I say I'll be there on the Friday. Look forward to bumping into you, having a bit of a natter, and you can introduce me to some of your friends. And hopefully Alice is painted apple and blackberry pie, which I quite like the sound of.
Oh, doesn't that sound great? And it's just a perfect time for it, apple and blackberry pie. Yes, please.
It is that time of year.
I look forward to seeing you.
MalvernAutumn.co.uk to grab your tickets and get yourself along there. You can see Mark and the rest of the team in action doing some amazing stuff. As ever, Mark Diacano, thank you for joining us.
It's been a complete pleasure. Thank you.
That's a lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 744 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.